the deal is actually going to hinge on, first of all, we know a couple of things about both of these world leaders. The Ukrainian leader has a very difficult position to be in because as soon as the war is over, his time as president is going to come to an abrupt end because it's the law in their country that if they're at war, they don't have to have elections. And the polling on the ground shows that Ukrainians want a new leader. So as soon as the war ends, Zelensky is out of power. Now, obviously he's enriched himself through the US aid. There's a lot going on for him, and he has some opportunities outside of Ukraine should he decide to become an expat, but that's the fact. So it's not exactly a motivator for him. And then you have what's going on with Putin. Putin has certain goals that he has outlined over the past 20 some odd years in extensive speeches that he's made in Russian that are, subtitled on YouTube. You can find years of these where he's talked about what he wants for Mother Russia. And so if the peace agreement doesn't satisfy his geopolitical aims, he is not going to be motivated to take part in it, even though there are sanctions, even though the war is expensive for him, and even though it's a costly effort in manpower, they're losing people. But he's still willing to carry on. He doesn't have a motivator to stop that is really bigger than his goals. So it makes it really difficult for President Trump to get them to actually stop.
Well, I think you've hit upon some of the key obstacles to a comprehensive, just, and sustainable peace. And it should be noted that since the meetings in Alaska, Russians have continued to bombard Ukraine, and they've killed 10 innocent civilians. And so Russia continues to use its military power to place pressure on all parties, and that is one of the reasons that at different times President Trump has said perhaps the best path to a comprehensive peace is a ceasefire that might help um, take the pressure off and build trust in the process itself. It's very hard to negotiate if you're Zelensky when your civilians are being killed as part of a strategy, as part of a very indiscriminate and a strategy which is possible violation of war crimes laws. And so I think, as I understand it from Secretary Rubio, in the last 48 hours, he's indicated that a ceasefire is not off the table. But let's examine the shape of the deal that's actually taking place right now. The shape of the deal looks to be a deal in which Ukraine would have to give up some rights to some of its land. Russia would like it to give up rights to Crimea and to the Donbass region, which includes two regions, Donetsk and Luhansk. And this is difficult for Ukraine to do. It's not allowed to do this under Ukraine's constitution. This is not only a question of what Zelensky's preferences are, it's a matter of what Ukraine's constitution will allow. Further to that, Russia is also not fully occupying militarily those lands. So Ukraine would, in effect, be giving over land that Russia hasn't won over. So that's one component of a possible deal. The other component, and this is new since the meeting on Friday, and seems to have been based on what was discussed on Friday, is that President Trump and the United States and European leaders, in order to convince Ukraine to give up those lands, would provide what is described as an Article 5 like guarantee, security guarantee to Ukraine to prevent further Russian military aggression in the future once a deal is arrived at. So that seems to be the progress that's been made, and I'm hopeful as this process unfolds, we will see that the essence of a deal will include this new security guarantee coming also from the United States as well as Europe.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.